Visit wavestash.net for the hardest motherfucking beats you ever heard.
What's up, guys? This is Gino from Wavestash. Today, we're gonna be cooking up a beat. We're gonna be going over how to lay down drums like Dilla. So without further ado, let's get into it. So some key things to remember when it comes to laying down drums like Dilla. Number one is do not quantize your drum. The problem a lot of people have when they're trying to achieve that Dilla sound is they're not humanizing the sound, because Dilla actually made these beats on an MPC that he had to physically like tap the drum sounds into. Let's go ahead and find a cool sound. Guys, make sure you're taking your sound selection seriously. We've got to start off with good sounds so we don't got to do too much at the end. So let's get into it. Let's look. So I'll normally just start off with a kick first. I'll just lay it down on the one. That's basically just putting it right here. And then I'll go usually straight into finding hi-hats, since a real key element to Dilla's beats is those drunken sounding hi-hats. One thing that helps me come up with drum loops is actually keeping the tempo on. So let's keep that tempo tap on, and then we'll lay down some hi-hats. Okay, so we found a hi-hat. I'm kind of constructing the drum loop in my head as I'm making it. Another thing, guys, for the hi-hats, I like to adjust the envelope on it so that basically the sound only plays for as long as the note is drawn out. Okay, so we've got a nice little drunken bounce going. You can see that I've adjusted the velocities on these notes, and that's to place emphasis on humanizing the drum loop. Not everything is going to be the same when a drummer is actually playing the drums in, you know? So let's go ahead and add some panning to this. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a nice 4-bar drum loop constructed. You gotta approach making music with a strategic mindset in a way. You have to ask yourself questions while you're making the beat. What do I think I should do next? What do I think the beat is telling me to do next? You know, it's a lot deeper than just clicking through your sound directory and just fucking picking whatever. I like to lay down what I consider the main elements of the drum loop first, and then I'll build around that. So now we're gonna go ahead and add the snare. One important thing you can do with snare is rush them when it comes to making Dilla beats. So we've laid down our snare. The next thing we could probably do is add either some open hats or some percussion. I like this open hat, but again, just like the other sounds in the beat, we are not gonna quantize this. So let me show you. Okay, so you can see how we place this hi-hat wherever the fuck we want it to, and it sounds amazing. All right, you gotta trust your human senses and don't fucking pay attention to these lines, bro. Like, these lines don't mean shit. See how much better that sounds than this? Sounds like shit, bro. Come on, listen to yourself, guys. Trust your senses. So here we go. So again, we added another open hat. We went off grid like we're supposed to. Now we're just gonna mess with the panning a little bit. So let's see what we can come up with. I want this open hat to end like right about here. So I'm just gonna do a quick workaround. I'm just gonna turn this all the way down and tell the open hat to cut itself whenever another open hat plays. So it would be like this. See, it ends quick. It's all for variation, basically. But honestly, I'm loving the way that this drum loop is sounding. We'll go ahead and throw a sample on this. This is not a sampling tutorial though, so we're not gonna go over that. I'm just gonna throw a sample over it, see what happens. I'm gonna play the drum loop for you guys for 8 bars, just so you can hear what we came out with. So if you guys fuck with that, make sure to definitely subscribe and drop a like, please. I am going to show you a really good website to find samples. If you don't know it yet, it's called samplet.io, and they made a tool where you can filter through samples online. So think of it as like a giant record store. All right guys, so I think we found our sample. I'm gonna go ahead and get this downloaded. Okay, we're loaded up into Serato sample. I've used the find samples function here. Kind of helps you take a different approach and come out with a different outcome. One thing I like to do, I like to open up a new pattern for my sample specifically, and then I'll lay the drums out for about 16 bars, and I'll lay out the second pattern with the sample for 16 bars. So I can kind of just play along as the drums are playing, and it's like a live audition. I'm gonna play it out on my Kai Fire. I feel like it's easier to play out my samples than it is to click them in, but I kind of do a mix of both. All right, I'm gonna play some in, y'all. Let's go. Stupid as fuck, bro. Man, that's just mad as fuck. My goodness. Well, that's how you lay down a sample, guys. I didn't really get into mixing the sample. I think that'd be good for another tutorial, but I hope you guys learned something today. You know, I had a lot of fun going over the drunken Dilla drums, are some of my favorite sounding drums in music across the board. If you guys did learn something, definitely make sure to drop a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know if you guys want more tutorials, if you want a tutorial on sampling, mixing samples, mixing tutorials, whatever the fuck. I got it for you. I got the sauce, bro. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next tutorial.